Liberty Unfiltered, and here's your host, Steve Long.
Hey folks, this is Steve Long, and you're listening to Liberty Unfiltered right here on Vigilant Liberty Radio. And we're also streaming over on K98talk.com and the Spark Radio Network. Tonight we've got a show. We're going to be talking about the proposed hoodie ban in Oklahoma. And we've got a few other things we're going to talk about. I'm going to be joined in a minute here just by a few people that have been on the show before, as Professor Craig Dawkins, Joanna Francisco, and Lisa Bowman. You have to excuse me tonight. My voice is just about shot, so I'm going to attempt to make my way through the show. But in any case, thanks for tuning in tonight, and let's bring our guests on. All right, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right, good. See if we can push through this thing. Got my hot tea so I can try to coat my throat as we talk. So, Senator Barrington, what is up with him?
Senator Over Barrington.
Okay, so he's proposing this bill, which is actually an amendment to a current bill, and he is trying to modify the law to make it unlawful for any person to wear a mask, hood, or covering which conceals the identity during the commission of a crime, which is already part of the law. But he is, from what I understand, he's adding a provision to basically intentionally conceal his or her identity in a public place.
Right.
Which, the idea that, he's got this, I guess his purpose, he said, was to try to deter crime by making it illegal.
He listed out some, I think the exemptions were, he added some exemptions to this. Right. And it's a finite list of exemptions, and what's not included in that list is just minding your own business. So it really, people are making it all about the hoodie. It's not just about the hoodie, but it is about controlling what people can wear in public. And I can think of many scenarios where you might want to be anonymous in public. But I think that my suspicion is that this was prompted by protests at the Capitol where people wore masks.
And I was going to say, one of the specific exemptions that's not included in his list of exemptions is at public protests, where
right.
Certainly you would want a certain. Some people would want a certain amount of anonymity.
Well,
Go ahead, Greg.
Go ahead. Oh, okay. I was going to say, there's also a question here of people who wear headdress and religious clothing that would be construed to be a mask or a hood. And, you can almost see the law getting tested in court right off the bat when somebody is protesting and they're wearing their religious clothing and they're arrested because they committed some unknowing crime, like maybe they didn't have a permit to do the kind of thing that they were doing that particular day. And they've committed a crime, and they're wearing a mask. And so you got to wonder, how broad, because, DAs can take these things and run with them, and they inevitably do that kind of thing. And then they get into a appellate situation, and typically Oklahoma loses on these things because it's abused outside the Constitution.
Hey, Craig, in that example you just gave, wouldn't the religious exemption apply?
That's what I was going to ask.
I couldn't determine that, really. A court would have to determine that. Does it cover all religions? I mean, if I say, for example, a few weeks ago, you might remember the news, the lady, she took a picture with her driver's license and she called herself the Pastafarian, remember?
I've seen that, yeah.
So would she be covered? I don't know.
Would it be a government-approved religion?
Well, it sounds like that, and I don't know how you can have that, really.
Well, interestingly enough, speaking of religious exemption, a local comedian found a loophole in this bill by forming the Oklahoma Order of the Hoodie. It's basically a new religion whose only tenet is wearing a hoodie is a sacred sacrament.
And you chant "Ooh" for OOH. What is it, Oklahomans? The order?
Oklahoma Order of the Hoodie.
Ooh.
Now, the last I checked,
Ooh.
there are over 2,000 members already.
All right.
And one of the things, the guy's name that started it is Eric Ellingwood. And one of the things he said when he started the group was he started it partially, of course, for humor purposes, but also because he feels that a law like this could allow the police to use this law to justify harassment and or racial profiling.
All kinds of things. I mean, there's nothing really good about this bill.
I mean,
and to be quite honest, does anybody really think that this has a chance of passing?
No. Most lawmakers are actually saying that the chance of the law passing is slim. But you know as well as I do that this is Oklahoma and anything is possible.
No, you're right.
Does Barrington chair the committee? I don't know what committee this bill is in, but I know he chairs a committee. Is it this one? Y'all know?
Well, it seems to me that he also chairs the Higher Education Committee. I could be wrong about that. But I do know that he has a position there because he was recognized a couple of years ago as being, he was recognized by the Oklahoma State Regents for Higher Education. They gave him a Distinguished Service Award for his strong stance against concealed weapons on college campuses.
Mm.
He is the chair of the Public Safety Committee.
There we go.
Is that the one? Is the Public Safety Committee the one that refused to hear the a marijuana bill last session?
Yeah,
I think you're right.
It was one that he chaired. I don't know the name. I don't know which committee it was, but he was the one who stood in the way of that.
Speaking of public safety, I had read right about the time this bill first kind of got press, is that before he announced it, I guess, he went to the Department of Public Safety and had them look it over, and they were all good with it. They're like, yeah, go ahead. Like, really? You guys have no common sense either, huh?
No. No, they don't. Anything that can put a citizen in the crosshairs is, I think, to some extent, a dominant strategy with some of the police state-minded people. They want another reason to mess with you.
Yeah.
And Don Barrington is the useful idiot who is the guy that will, write bills for that end.
Village idiot, maybe. And Oklahoma is getting some national press about this. And so this is the way we're being represented to the rest of the country, or the rest of the world even. Look at these guys. These morons want to ban hoodies.
I guess we provide some entertainment for the rest of the country.
What would comics do without us?
The hoodie's getting all the attention, but I really believe this was prompted by, my gut tells me it was the mask wearing on the Capitol.
You're probably right.
I heard that it bothered him, that people showed up at the Capitol wearing masks, and I was not I was at one event where we wore masks, and that was I believe it's called the International Day of Privacy, and that was in 2013, and K-Beach organized that rally, and there were a lot of people in masks at that, but I think later on that year was on November 5th, Guy Fawkes Day. I think some people showed up, and I wasn't there for that, but anyway, that might have been a weekday. Maybe that would have been in November, so I don't know what he was talking about, where he saw people at the Capitol in masks.
Well, I'm trying to find out why he really cares. There isn't. If it's already against the law to wear a mask while you're committing a crime, which is what the ACLU's point was in their response the other day, then what is to be gained other than just silencing speech in a way where people who would like to be anonymous are not allowed to do so?
That's all it does. This doesn't have anything to do with crime. I see people saying, "Oh, I want people to be safe in their stores." People come in, like gang members with hoodies on. Well, that's already covered under the law, and I disagree with that aspect of the law. But that's a whole other story. But that's not even addressed in this amendatory language. This is pure. It's what you wear in public, whether going to the store or walking on the street or at a park or at a protest. It's unlimited. The exemptions are finite, but the limitations are not.
And I really hate to mention this, although I will. Actually, I really don't hate to mention it, but Don Barrington is a member of the Party of Liberty.
Which one is that?
I thought he was a Republican.
I didn't know anarchists had a party.
Right.
Lisa.
Well, that's what the Republicans call themselves. They're the forebearers of liberty.
Well, maybe there are 4 actual bearers, but I think they keep them hidden. They don't let them out much.
I hear a lot of
people
call themselves that.
I think liberty is a very popular word, and everything's liberty now. So, but I think probably they get a lot of support for being the party of law and order. So, but you got to admit there are a lot of people who really like law and order. Those words just really sound good to them. So, although I really haven't seen anyone in support of this, I have to say I've been watching it, and I don't really. Do you guys see much support?
I haven't seen any support, which still makes me wonder. Number one, what his motivations were, or I mean, to put it in a more general sense, what was going through his mind when he proposed this. I mean, is he really that much of an idiot? I've never met the guy, but.
Well, I think when you're a lawmaker, you have to come up with laws to create. So they have to validate their existence somehow.
Wow.
I guess he's, I don't know, grasping.
He's terming out after this cycle anyway, so maybe he's just... I don't know, this isn't really getting him any good press, so that's really not...
It might not matter as long as he gets the right press. I mean, I don't know who he's trying to please here, but, I mean...